Yo, what up? It's Wednesday on Golden State Boulevard, which means that it's time for me to talk about this week's topic. This week's topic is things that we wish we would have known when we were younger. Oh gosh, where do I begin? I really wish that I would have known that math wasn't useless, which has absolutely nothing to do with gender or anything, but I really wish I would have known that, because now I'm terrified of math because I'm not very good at it, because I didn't pay attention when I was like really young, and so the basics just didn't stick with me very well. So I mean, obviously, like, I know multiplication, addition, subtraction, and some basic algebra and stuff, but I fought so hard against learning math that now I don't really know it. So the idea of taking a class with math in it is terrifying, and I really wish I wouldn't have done that to myself. I wish that when I was younger, gosh. Well, I really wish that I would have known that the people that I was hanging around when I was in elementary school and middle school, that some of them weren't really nice people, and that they didn't actually treat me very well, and they weren't my friends at all. And I think if I would have known that, I would have not been so unhappy in middle school and elementary school, like in the later years. And I also wish that I would have known that just because that I liked certain things that other people that were in my class didn't like, didn't mean that I was lame or that I was a loser or anything like that. And I also really wish that I would have known that I was going to get boobs when I turned 13, because I was not mentally prepared for that at all. I mean, I think, I knew, I'm not saying didn't understand how biology works, but I was not emotionally prepared for that at all, and it was to my detriment. I wish I would have known that I was going to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I gave away most of my cards, because that was something that I regret now. This isn't really something that I wish I knew, it's something that I wish I didn't forget, because when I was much younger, I was a real tomboy, like as a small child, and I wish that I wouldn't have let myself be bullied into thinking that there was something wrong with that, because it took me a really long time to untangle what I actually liked versus what I thought I was supposed to like. I will go to a store and I'll look at clothes and I'm like, oh, I like that, but do I like it really, or do I think I'm supposed to like that, and therefore I like it? So that's something that I wish that I wouldn't have let myself get bullied out of. That is to say, being myself. Which seems kind of absurd, but it's really interesting how easily that can be done to a person. When I was in the 2nd grade, I liked sharks and I thought I wanted to be an ichthyologist, and then all of a sudden I didn't like dirt, I didn't like spiders, I was like really to use kind of a bad word I suppose, but I was considered, I was kind of a sissy when it came to things like that. And I think I really have tricked myself into thinking that I'm afraid of spiders now, even though I'm not sure that it really started out that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things that I really wish that I would have stayed true to who I was, no matter how badly people treated me, because then at least I would have known that I had myself. And I think I'm getting back to the place now where I know who I am, but I didn't for a really long time. I wish I would have known better than to use English with my boyfriend, because now it's really difficult to use German with him, and that's really tragic because now we're in Germany and it would be very convenient and it would be very good for me to better my language skills if we did, but it's really difficult to do that now, so I wish I would have known better than that. I feel like this is a confession of some kind. This is actually really difficult. I wish that I would have known that Tokyo Hotel was going to be in Detroit in 2008, because I would have gone and I didn't. I wish I would have known that grammar rules are actually important, and taken the time to sit down and memorize some of the tables before I came to Germany again this time, because then I think that my grammar courses would be a lot less difficult for me. It's interesting when you look back on your life and you're trying to figure out what you wish you would have known, but even as I'm listing these things, I mean, some of them I don't think would have really changed the way that I developed in any sort of significant sense. Like, even if I would have known the grammar, if I would have known the grammar better, I don't think that would have really changed my experience that I've had here so far much, except to have made it a lot less stressful and a lot better. But some of the other things, even though they really sucked, like the fact that I had people who said they were my friends who weren't really friends, I think that even though that led to some bad developmental habits on my part, that is to say, going through a phase where I really didn't trust women or girls at all, that it's still problematic for me, I think that it would have made me not so kind. And I think it's a little pretentious, I suppose, to call myself kind, but I really do think that I try to be nice to people and give people the benefit of the doubt. And if I see that somebody's upset or that they're in pain or if they're getting bullied, I like to think, and I think I do, step up to the plate to help them, simply because it bothers me to see people upset like that and getting picked on, because I know how it feels. And if I hadn't been picked on myself, I wouldn't be able to empathize, although I like to think I would still try to step up and help. I don't know that I would, you know? Like, I think if you can empathize with somebody, it's a lot easier to help them, or to want to help them, or motivate yourself to do the right thing. Not to say that I think everybody should go through bullying. I don't think anybody should get bullied. But I do think that that has helped me develop into a more kind person than I may or may not have otherwise been. So even though I really wish that that wouldn't have happened, and I wish that I would have been smart enough to see that I was better than the people that were doing that to me, I think that something positive did come out of it in the end. So I guess that's sort of what experience is, isn't it? I mean, of course, you know, retrospection is a very fickle thing. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, I wish you would have known certain things, but you never know what would have happened differently in your life if you did know those things. Although I like to think that knowing math better wouldn't have changed me, or wouldn't change me in a bad sense. If I would have paid attention, I just don't think that I would have done anything in my life differently, except that I would be terrified of taking a math class, sort of like the grammar. These are just things that didn't change me on a fundamental level. They just changed me in the sense that they made my school life a heck of a lot more difficult now. So I really do wish that I would have done both of those things, but, you know, c'est la vie, right? But yeah, that's more or less, and as you know, some of them are kind of silly things, but those are, in a nutshell, the things that I wish that I would have known, or that I wish I would have done differently, and stuff like that. It's funny too, because looking back, I'm realizing that there's not a lot about the choices that I've made in my life that I regret. I have very few regrets, and I'm not easily embarrassed, so I don't look back on things and think, oh God, why did I do that? At least I couldn't think of any when we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and I had to admit shame because I didn't know what one of the words meant, but it was hard for me to come up with something that was truly shameful or embarrassing, because I don't know, I don't get embarrassed easily, and I don't anymore, and I don't feel regretful or embarrassed about anything really that I've done. I think I've done a lot of good things. I think I've made a lot of the right choices, but you know, I just thought I'd list off a couple that I could have done a smidge differently if I would have known things that I didn't know then that I do know now. What do you wish that you would have known, or wish you would have done differently, or just, you know, tell me all about it. So, until I see you guys next Wednesday, take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay happy, and stay strong. Take care.